everybody's drinking. Are we drinking tonight? Good. I am around my people. That feels good. A little bit about me, you guys. I love to drink. Alright, I drink pretty much every single day. And hell yeah. I know they say you're not supposed to drink every day, but my dad always told me when I was growing up that if I spent every day doing what I loved, I'd never work a day in my life. And you know what? I drink every day and I don't have a job. So he's a smart man, my father. Oh man, it's good. I'm glad we're having a good time. I'm trying to have a good time myself. My wife and I, we got some bad news recently. We found out that my ex-girlfriend's dad canceled his Netflix account. And some of you have guessed. The reason we found that out, our Netflix stopped fucking working. But you know how that is, right? Like if you're dating for a while, she's just gonna come over, she'll put her password in, then you have free Netflix for only like 8 years. I don't know what the problem was. But you know, I went out, okay? And I'm like, it was late at night, I was a little drunk, but this guy and I, we always had a good back and forth, right? Like he had a great sense of humor. So I thought to myself, you know what, fuck it, why not? I jumped on his Facebook and I commented, so, finally called it quits, huh? Joke's on you, I've been using your Netflix for years. And I went to bed, I didn't think anything else of this. But I woke up the next morning to a bunch of Facebook notifications on my phone. People saying shit like, what an awful thing to say. How could you be so insensitive? Turns out he died, you guys. Yeah, that's why my Netflix stopped working. I know this guy's Facebook, people were like, rest in peace, you'll be in our thoughts forever. Oh, you finally called it quits, huh, asshole? I've been using your Netflix for years. So, we're more of a Hulu family these days. Some good shit on there, you guys should check it out. Oh man, it's nice being back in New England. I was down in New York not too long ago doing some shows, and yeah, boo New York. New York fucking sucks, dude. I hate it. It's just fancy people living on top of their trash. That's all New York is. The first thing that happened to me when I got to New York, I got off the bus, homeless man spit in my mouth. That's the first thing that happened. Yeah, like I was just on the sidewalk, I was smoking a cigarette. This homeless man, he walked up to me, he asked me for one, I gave him one, and he said thanks. And as he said thanks, a big wad of spit flew out of his mouth and landed into mine. I don't know if you've ever had a heart attack at my age, but like, holy shit was that terrifying, dude. Like, and here's the thing, he didn't do anything about it. All he said was, don't worry, I don't have COVID, and walked away. Dude, COVID is my least concern right now. There is some cool, like, everybody in New York, they always dress like really fashionably, you know, and like, that's kind of cool. Like, I'm not against fashion, I wore this shirt on purpose, you know, like, I decided, yeah, this morning I woke up, I was like, you know what would the seat of a Greyhound bus wear? Let's go with that. But you know, there's one trend I've noticed in New York City, like the guys are doing, where they're wearing these really fashionable sweatpants called joggers. Like, I don't know if you guys maybe have seen this on Instagram, yeah. You know, here's the thing, I'm kind of about it. Like, I think it's kind of a cool look. But the problem is, I think that look is really for skinny guys only, right? Because if you see a skinny guy out in public wearing joggers, you're like, all right, that's a fashion statement, you know? But if you saw me out in public wearing any kind of sweatpants, you'd be like, that dude's out of pants. No way. And that's because I'm fat, you know, I'm a fatter guy, that's fine, doesn't bother me. You know, I like to call the year I graduated college the Big Bang, because my body's been expanding ever since, but... You know, there are some people, they get defensive when I call myself fat. They'll be like, Jack, shut up, all right? You're not that fat. Don't call yourself that. I like to call those people fatter than me. It's like, hey man, just because I'm a freshman and you're a senior doesn't mean we don't go to the same school. You know, like, I'll get there eventually. I do sometimes get motivated to lose the weight. And then whenever that happens, I always like to take a before photo. You know, that way, like, once I lose the weight, I have like a before and after, and I can post it on Instagram and brag and all that shit. But the problem is, that motivation only lasts like a couple days. So now all I have on my phone is this album of me getting progressively fatter. It's almost like a timeline of my life, you know? Like, you can just point to it and be like, oh shit, this is when Jack discovered Grubhub, right here. And then if you look to your right, this is when Jack figured out his favorite pizza place and his favorite wing place was the same fucking place. I think the best way I've ever had my weight described to me is I was hanging out with a gay friend of mine, and he turned to me and he was like, Jack, you're not a bear, but you're definitely a cub. And I was like, how awesome are gay people? But this guy called me fat and I felt flattered, you know? Like, dude, that shit made my night. I was walking around introducing myself. I'm like, hey, I'm a cub. How you doing? Like, what's going on? I told that joke last year at a comedy festival in San Francisco, and this gay guy came up to me afterwards. He goes, I just want to let you know that joke's not very accurate. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, well, we would never call you a cub. Cub is reserved for a younger, fatter man with hair on his chest. You have no hair on your chest. We wouldn't call you a cub. And I'm like, all right, so what would you call me? And he swirled his martini in a very sassy gay way and just went, honey, we call you a manatee. That's way worse, right? The fuck? I was like, dude, I immediately take back what I said about your people. That shit is hurtful.